Good morning, everyone. Uh, it's good to see you all here in the New York area. We're having quite a dramatic day of alternating clouds and sun, and it's been a lot of fun sitting here watching the sunlight become brilliant and then fade away and then come on again. So quite frequently I get ideas for talks from interacting with students in Dokusan. Sometimes the same question seems to be coming up, and I think it's always a good idea to respect that when this question comes up frequently, do some thinking about it. So one thing that's been coming up lately is from students who have been practicing many years, quite advanced in their practice, and the question comes up, you know, I've been gone to a lot of retreats and I've practiced a lot, and I'm doing pretty well with my koans. You pass me on a lot of koans, but I don't really know what I'm doing. I don't really get it. I feel like I'm missing something. And this came up more than once. And I felt that I could totally relate to what they were asking. And if I look at myself and I ask why someone who's been practicing many years should have this problem, including me, what I come up with is that our discriminating mind, our wonderful human thinking mind, we're in the habit of leaning on it, you know, for so many things. And of course, that mind wants to understand, it wants to grasp something, it wants to attain something. And we hear over and over again that the truth, the fundamental truth of the Dharma is not something to be grasped. So even though I and these advanced students should know better, it's hard to keep from that habit of, I want to get it, I want to get it, I want to get it, I want to get it. And it takes a very long time for that thinking mind to just kind of relax, just kind of take a break, just finally accept the fact that you're not going to get it. So relax, honey, you know, you don't have to work so hard. But of course, we have to make that mind work very hard before it gets so tired that it's ready to relax, to truly relax and allow us to use the other wonderful tools that are available to us as human beings. So there's a story about a monk who was exactly in this kind of position, couldn't let his thinking mind give himself a break. In fact, he wanted to escape from it. And he went to his teacher, Matsu, one of the great Zen masters of Tang Dynasty China. And he asked Matsu, beyond any permutations of assertion and denial, what is the meaning of Bodhidharma coming from the West? Now, if you haven't been hanging around Zen literature, that question can be pretty obscure, but basically what he's asking is, beyond the thinking mind, beyond right and wrong, good or bad, existence or non-existence, what is the fundamental truth of Zen? What is the fundamental truth beyond all this thinking we do about it? And Matsu said, I have a headache today and can't explain it to you. Why don't you go ask Master Chi-san? So the monk, being very sincere, couldn't wait, and he ran over to see Master Chi-san. And then Chi-san said something that I think is very pivotal to this koan. So monk asked Chi-san his question, and Chi-san said, why don't you ask the teacher? Why don't you ask the teacher? Well, who is the teacher? Who is the teacher who can tell you why your heart beats and your blood pumps and why daffodils bloom in spring? Who is that teacher that you should be asking? Of course, the monk didn't get what Chi-san was kindly trying to show him. And he said, I already asked the teacher. He told me to come here and ask you. And Chi-san sighed and said, I'm tired today and can't explain it for you. Well, why don't you ask Brother Hai, another great master, better known as Pai Chang. And so the monk ran over to Brother Hai and asked the same question. And Hai said, after all, when I get to this point, I don't know. So we have three great masters responding to the monk's question, two of whom can explain, one of whom doesn't know. And the monk finally goes back to the original master, Matsu, tells him what happened. And Matsu said, Chi-san's head is white and Brother Hai's head is black. Well, that's also a bit obscure, but actually it's pointing to something that isn't at all obscure. Daffodils bloom in spring, roses bloom in June. When we sit for a long time, our bodies get achy and we get tired. Nothing hidden, nothing obscure. What is the fundamental meaning beyond good and bad, right and wrong? Ask the teacher. Ask the teacher, what is the meaning of being born, living, suffering, and eventually dying? Can it be explained? Can it be known? From another story, It said that you must drink the water for yourself and know whether it's hot or cold. That was said by General Mio when he was enlightened on a peak by the sixth ancestor. And he was delighted. He was delighted. I've drunk the water. Now I know. Now I know. And then he goes, but tell me, lay brother, is there some secret teaching beyond what I've just realized? Is there something more? Is there some goodie for me to grasp beyond what I've realized? And the sixth ancestor simply says, what you have realized is not secret. It's plain as day. It's right out here before us in this human life we're living at this moment. Up is up, down is down. If you're heading to the Bronx, you'll find the Hudson River on your left and the East River to your right. So we can see that this desire to grasp hold of something, to attain something, to have some little motto we can write on a slip of paper and put inside a fortune cookie, it's a very strong desire. And indeed, the initial question of the story that I just told harks back to Bodhidharma and the original not knower. And it's a very resonant story. And many of you will remember at least the first part of it, which is when Bodhidharma came to bring the Zen orientation toward Buddhism, when he went from India to China to do that teaching. The emperor of China at that time was a very committed Buddhist. Buddhism had been in China at that point for 200 or 300 years, but not from the Zen point of view. And the Emperor Wu, was a very sincere practitioner. He was known as the Buddha Heart Emperor, and he endowed lots of monasteries, and he supported a lot of monks. And he went around preaching one of the sutras that he was an expert on. And it was said that when he preached the sutra, heavenly beings would appear and drop flowers on him. And of course, those of you who are familiar with the Zen literature know that having flowers dropped on you is not really a good thing, because it means there's something extra going on. There's something separate from the truth going on. But he was a very sincere practitioner. That was the point. So he was delighted when Bodhidharma arrived in China, this great sage from India. And as soon as Bodhidharma landed, Emperor Wu asked that he be brought to see him. And the emperor told him all the great things that he had done for Buddhism. And then he asked, so what merit have I attained? And Bodhidharma said, no merit. So that took the emperor aback. What does he mean? No merit. Well, again, this is the propensity of our discriminating mind to want to attain something, to want to grasp something. Could there possibly be any permanent thing called merit that could be awarded to a permanent entity called a self that could attain something? Well, not going to happen. Hope springs eternal, but not going to happen. And so Bodhidharma said, no merit. And then the emperor said, what is the highest meaning of the holy truths? Which is pretty much exactly the same as the monk's question in the other story. The highest meaning of the holy truths beyond right and wrong, good and bad, life and death. What is it? And Bodhidharma pointed directly at it. He said, great emptiness, nothing holy. The emperor was very confused. He said, well, who is it who's standing before me? And Bodhidharma said, I don't know. I don't know. I can't explain. You'll have to ask the teacher. And then Bodhidharma saw that worthy as a fellow as the emperor was, not much was going on there in terms of real understanding. And so he left the kingdom. He crossed the river away and left. Well, the emperor, of course, had a Buddhist master as an advisor named Master Chi. And Master Chi turned to the emperor and said, do you know who that was? The emperor said, I don't know. Of course, that was a different kind of I don't know. That was the I don't know. That's the opposite of I know. I don't know. I don't know who that was. And Master Chi said that was an incarnation of Avalokiteshvara, the deity of compassion. And when he heard this, the emperor was very sorry, very sad. And he tried to send a number of his men to go get Bodhidharma and bring him back. And she said, even if you sent everyone in the kingdom to go look for him, you would never be able to bring him back. So what Master Chi is pointing to is the fundamental truth of our lives. You can search for something solid to hold on to, but it's already gone. Where is my youth? Where is that day I first fell in love with someone? Where did it go? This is the texture of our lives. Things arise from we know not where. As Shakespeare said, they hold in perfection but a little while, and then they fade away to we know not where. And of course, this is always happening moment by moment. I mean, where is the beginning of this talk? I could send every one of you to go and look for it, and you'll never find it ever again. So what is the fundamental meaning? Ask the teacher. Where will you find the teacher? Well, Dogen Zenji very kindly tells us where. He says, if you reach for it, if you grasp for it, if you send your soldiers to try and bring it back, if you sit in zazen and you wonder if you're in the right mental state, or you're desiring to be in some state other than you're in, or some place other than you're in, if you're trying to grasp something, Dogen Zenji says, it will elude you. If you want to see it, open your hands, open your heart, open your mind, and the Dharma will fill them, your hands and your heart and your mind beyond measure. It's always available. But we must get out of the habit of being so graspy, so clinging, and just open. There's nothing hidden. There's nothing denied us. There's nothing that we need to get or to attain. Our brains will keep producing thoughts. Our hearts will keep beating. We'll keep falling in and out of love. We'll keep getting old. What is the meaning of that beyond all the permutations of assertion and denial? Ask the teacher. And so we sort of come full circle. Asking the teacher is opening to the teacher, is learning from the teacher, is asking from the teacher. We call it the way-seeking mind. The mind of the beginner, the first day he walks into the Zen center and wants to know what it's all about. We never lose that mind. It's just that we've been practicing for a while. It starts to seem like a problem for us because, well, I've been practicing 10 or 15 years and I'm still looking, I'm still seeking. The way-seeking mind is not separate from the Buddha mind. The mind that is asking the teacher the question is itself the teacher. And slowly, slowly over time, we realize that our desire to grasp, to possess, to understand is not going to be satisfied in that way. And yet the answer will never be denied us in any moment of our lives. Then everything becomes our teacher and every path becomes the way.